Many people do not know that his grace took over from my dad in a church where my dad was priest. And they brought the young man there, he's still a young man. Still very, very young. I think we are not young, we are young. To come and take over from my dad. Since that time, we have met and our relationship has been solidified. This man of God is gentle, amiable, and full of the Holy Spirit. We thank you, sir, for the good times we have shared, and we pray that the good Lord will continue to reward you. The Archbishop of Lagos Mainland, our Papa, Archbishop Obafemi Adele, I salute you specially. The good Lord will serve will continue to multiply your anointing. I greet our bishops who are here. I think the outstanding president is somewhere there, who is my successor in Lagos. And I greet my brother, the lay president, enigmatic lay president, full of the spirit. I wish you well as you navigate this post with utmost vigor. It is well with you, sir. Now may I greet His Excellency and thank you for gracing this occasion and great morning. It's a Nigerian balance. We call you Your Excellency. So forgive us if we continue to call you Your Excellency, because I can see that since our prophet has said it, it is sealed right from heaven. And since you wish to, it appears to me that you wish to do it. And as a son of God, that prayer, that wish is answered. It's a foregone conclusion because we are a friend of God. We appreciate all you have said to us today. You have spoken with candor. You have been very candid, and we hope to see more of you in public service. Thank you very much, sir. I know that we have known each other, and that you know me and I know you. So I pray and I wish you well. Our ministers, I like to specially greet ministers, very reverend, before I go to my lay people. I greet you and I pray that the good Lord will solidify your feet. How beautiful is it to see people who walk in the Lord's vineyard? How beautiful are your feet. I pray that you will never be shaken. Amen. You will never be put to shame. Amen. The reward of serving God, that the people who are served before you you will attain that position in the mighty name of Jesus. I greet all the nights, days that I've seen here, particularly the baby night. Who has just remained a night belatedly, but at God's own time. We congratulate you, sir. It is well with you and mommy. I greet all my compatriots, all my friends, all my brothers, my sisters who are here. I've prepared the 12 page, 57 paragraph keynote address, one paragraph for 1 year of the Synod. I understand that we are in the 57th Synod. So I did a 57 paragraph keynote address. So I won't take your time. Don't be afraid. I won't take your time. It's going to take me a few minutes. And that is why I've asked that the paper be distributed so that you can follow me. In 10-15 minutes, I want to do with 57 paragraphs. So I said in paragraph 1 that am I here or not? You know, all these things we always say to deliver this keynote address. And I praised this diocese. I said the numero, Pathfinder diocese conference area. I said that this is the second time I'm coming here. I addressed this Synod in the Golden Jubilee, and that time I made some prediction. I said this diocese will continue to play its motherly role and fulfill its prophetic destiny. That was my words 7 years ago. Motherly role and prophetic destiny as a veritable instrument in the hands of God to propagate the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ and the spread of Methodism in our land. Propagating the good news is the most important command that all Christians must obey. It is in fact our identity. Before Jesus Christ ascended to heaven, he asked his disciples to be his witnesses in Jerusalem, in Judea, in Samaria, and to the utmost end of the earth. After tarrying a while, because they tarried a while before they were dispersed, they heed this call. They began to do an advanced Christ work. They preached, they healed the sick, they rescued the perishing, and they won souls for Christ. Whatever some scholars have said about the missionaries, because when I was studying history, we read about some scholars who said they had ulterior motive. They came for our palm oil, they came for our cocoa, they were interested in money. But we know Reverend Thomas Bash Freeman did not come for all that. When he and his people brought Methodism into Badagry on September 24, 1842, they were sincere people ready to serve God. From Badagry, they moved to Abeokuta. Then we had a series of events: the abolition of slave trade, the treaty with King Akintoye by the Queen in 1852, and the cession of Lagos to become British colony in 1861. Then what happened to Lagos was that Lagos experienced an influx of our forefathers who had been taken country, who had lived in Freetown and some other nations of the world, and had been introduced to Methodism. What happened was that they now came back to Lagos and they wanted to establish a church, and then they brought Thomas Bash to come here and establish where we are standing today, this Ologo Church, in 1861. That time, this church was called Wesley Chapel, and it was the first church established by a Methodist mission in Lagos. The chapel then continued to grow numerically in strength. They began to get converts, those who were not Christians before, pagans who were invited. Then an event happened in Abeokuta, which was, Abeokuta's establishment was earlier than 1861. The Alaki then and the traditional chief were persecuting Christians. A lot of them from Abeokuta came to Lagos for refuge. That was between 1867 and 1874. This church, Ologo, hosted these people who are running from persecution from Abeokuta, and their number swelled, including some pagans, even from Abeokuta. The clergies and the other ladies of Ologo who are committed Christians, they obeyed Christ's instruction. They were spreading the gospel. Their sacrifices were rooted in and controlled by obedience to Christ's command. They were his witness. They spent and they were spent. They donated large sums of money. They took care of refugees, as my brother said, cared for the dying. These early people who established the Wesley Chapel we are standing in, this Wesley Cathedral, they built schools, they built dispensaries, they built hospitals, established worship centers all over Lagos, and even beyond Lagos. They went to Ebutemeta, they went to Makoluku, they went to Yaba, they went to Igobili. They were the ones that created churches in Ijebu. They went to Ilesha. They went to City Mission. Eventually City Mission was a granddaughter in Surulere. Most churches we have today are children of this church we are standing in today, or grandchildren. Let's come nearer home to the circuits that are presently under Lagos. Many of the founding fathers of Oloruda were from this church. Araromi was actually built and given to some youths from Ologowo to go and be establishing the church in Araromi, and they are now circuits. What of Ereko? A lot of people migrated from this church to Tinubu in 1871, and they went to Ereko to go and establish Ereko. And many of these churches, like Oloruda, were now left to Ereko to manage before Oloruda became a circuit. What of Ota? Zion Methodist Church Ota. So look at the history of Zion Methodist Church, you will see that this church we are standing in had a role to play. Zion Methodist Church Ota now has a special area that will soon become the circuit. That's a great grandchild of Ologo. Igomila Methodist Church was created by the Afurugbe Society, played a very important role. Afurugbe Society of Ereko, and I've said before, Ereko was also peopled by people from this church. So you will see that all circuits has one relationship or the other with Ologo. So we can confidently say that all major cathedrals or churches in the southwest of Nigeria were either established, related to, or had Ologo lending a helping hand one way or the other in their establishment or early sustenance. So we went on and went on. Then came the early 2000s when we started the repositioning process in Methodist Church Nigeria. And we produced, the several committees produced a repositioning document which was accepted in 2005 by the then GBC. And it is from this document that the 2006 Constitution was fashioned. And I know that many of us here were members of those several committees. And then we came out with the vision and mission of Methodist Church Nigeria in sections 7 and 8 of that Constitution, to be one of the largest and spiritually vibrant churches in Nigeria, to consistently win more souls for Christ, develop spiritually fulfilled members, and remain very active in serving humanities. Since then, we have had many more churches, including Wesley Chapel, Lekki, which is also now part of Lagos Diocese. The advent of Wesley Chapel, Lekki is divinely ordained. Some group of Christians, Methodists, in City Mission gathered together and established a house fellowship center in VGC. And this house fellowship center metamorphosized into the church we call Wesley Chapel, Lekki. And this story of Wesley Chapel, Lekki is looking similar to the story of Wesley Chapel, Bonojo. And I wonder why His Eminence then, Prelate Makinde, on being asked to name that church, named it Wesley Chapel, Lekki. Wesley Chapel, Lekki began to grow. So on 3rd of April 2011, exactly 150 years away from 1861, when the Wesley Chapel here was established, another Wesley Chapel was born in the Lekki corridor and has its first worship in a compound in Victoria Garden City, with Right Reverend Okoko leading the service and being supported by Very Reverend Dr. Onodipe, the Reverend Bidemiano, and Reverend Titi. They did that first service, and Very Reverend Onodipe became the first chaplain, seconded from the Conference of Bishops to attend that church. So I ensure that that church is run in accordance with the repositioning document that the church has established. Today we have a congregation in Wesley Chapel that include all people from our churches in the mainland who have relocated to Lekki, and all the people living around Lekki. And they have begun to expand, to grow. They've gone to Ajah to establish a church. They have gone to Awoyaya, and they have about 5 hectares of land in Awoyaya already. The church is growing fast. What baffles me most is that 28 January 2016, when I was Al-Dawsanle president here, we suddenly received a letter from Village saying that Wesley Chapel is now part of Lagos Diocese. In retrospect, I believe that decision was taken under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. It is not difficult to see the prophetic linkage between the grandmother Wesley Chapel, Ologbo, now Cathedral, all the churches in this diocese, and the Wesley Chapel, Lekki, the newborn baby. We can see how the foundation laid by Ologbo in 1861 has gone full circle to fulfill the destiny of the Diocese of Lagos. A destiny to be the first among equals, take the lead in modernizing and repositioning our church to fulfill our vision and mission. If I were to write a scholarly treatise, it will be easy for me to link the conditions that led to the formation of Ologbowo Chapel, to that of his great-grandchild, Wesley Chapel, Lekki, and then position the divine connection within the prophetic destiny of the Diocese of Lagos. It is clear to me, from all indications, that God has divinely ordained and placed on the shoulders of the Diocese of Lagos another opportunity to take the lead in refreshing and repositioning our beloved church. It is therefore not by accident or by wishful thinking that we are gathered here in this synod and in this magnificent modern new look complex. I am sure we have the third and fourth generation of those who sacrificed in 1861, over 157 years ago, in this 57th synod, in this citadel, and appreciate this divinely ordained call, which to me is an opportunity and responsibility placed on our shoulders in this generation to lead the redefinition and repositioning of our church. We are gathered by the grace of God to understand this prophetic destiny, listen to Christ's injunction, obey the call, critically examine our situation, rededicate ourselves to our vision and mission, and ensure that our various sacrifices are deeply rooted in obedience to the call we have received. It is a deliberate call for continuous affirmative action on our part. This is what the theme of conference, obedience to God, better than sacrifice, has called into our consciousness. The tragic example of King Saul is an eye-opener. In 1 Samuel chapter 13, we saw how Saul, having waited for Samuel for 7 days, became impatient and performed the priestly duties by offering burnt offering to God before going to war. Samuel admonished him and said, "Thou hast done foolishly." And in fact, it was at that time that Samuel told him that the kingdom had been rented away from his hand and given to somebody better than him. That was the beginning of the fall of Saul. Imagine that I just come here today, or I come to Ologbowo one day. Where is very Reverend Sholu? They said he's not around. Where is the Archbishop? They say he's not around. I then go into my father's, to my car, pick my father's clerical priestly collars, and then enter into the chancel and ask people to come and be taking Holy Communion. Because I used to be lay president. This, that, X conference people advisor, and then I go into the council, I start distributing Holy Communion. I'm sure the Archbishop will start casting and binding. He will not pass judgment on me because we are now in the New Testament age. He will start praying and casting what happened to Bonojo, Kilo Cheles, Olo Baba Kilele, wearing collar. So you know the magnitude of what Saul did, arrogance. He was picked from nowhere to become king. He now thought that he could perform Samuel's function. He displayed the same arrogance in that chapter 15 when he was asked to go and pass and execute the judgment of God on the Amalekites. And we all know what he did. And that was when this time-honored phrase came. to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken, I underline that hearken. I'm already in paragraph 28, I told you I won't take your time. To hearken than the fat of rams. When Samuel made this statement, it was judgment upon Saul, and Saul was punished severely. But in the New Testament dispensation that we have, that statement is a warning to us Christians and a call for critical self-examination. We are called upon to examine our ways and means of service to God. As we serve God, we must be extremely careful to ensure that our various sacrifices are deeply rooted in obedience to God's injunction. We ought to continue to spend and be spent. We ought to establish more churches, that is, win souls and rescue the perishing. We ought to build more hospitals. We ought to establish more schools. We ought to give support to the poor and the needy, which means we have to serve humanity. In our service to God, which is our sacrifices in the New Testament dispensation, we must avoid the mistakes of King Saul. We must be gentle. We must be calm. We must be free from all forms of arrogance and excuses. Saul was always giving excuses. I preserve this to do that. I preserve these rams to do that. We, in this new generation, must be free from arrogance and excuses. In our own situation in this diocese, we must strive to understand our prophetic destiny and strive to fulfill it. We must learn to take the lead in the fundamental charge given to us as enshrined in what we call the Great Commission to all Christians. In doing so, we must ensure that we learn from history. That's why I started from history. We must learn from history. We must understand where we are coming from. We must understand where we are. And that is when we will be able to chart a path and know where we are going and follow the correct path. In doing so, we must ensure that we remember what King Solomon said in Proverbs 22:28. Remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set. We must remember to follow our Wesleyan doctrines as enshrined in our Constitution. Chapter 1 of our Constitution has preserved the Wesleyan doctrines based on Wesley notes, sermons, and the doctrines that our forefathers have put into our hands, which is second to none. By our theologians, we know that it is the Wesleyan doctrines are second to none in the Christendom. We must be careful. That's something that we need to be careful of in this generation, which I want to say with all emphasis. I'm already in paragraph 36. We must not despise the contributions of our forebearers, but must ensure we build on it. Let us stop this. Let us stop that. What we need to do, let us follow the good things they've done. We should stop condemning each other in this church. Let us do our own bit. Ló tẹ̀ ń ṣàwọn bàbá yẹn gan, ló tẹ̀ ń ṣàwọn ilé president yẹn gan, ló tẹ̀ ń tẹ̀ àwọn àlùfáà yẹn gan. This type of thing is uncalled for in the new dispensation. We can see the spread of the gospel from Wesley Chapel to Wesley Chapel, Lekki, and all these churches by divine grace coming together today under the same Lagos Diocese. That is the thing we should focus on. It's telling us something. Looking at that history is telling us something in this generation in this Lagos diocese that God has given us another opportunity to be the pathfinder, to be the leader, to lead the repositioning process, to lead the way so that others will follow, to begin to establish more churches towards Ekpe, to begin to create churches. I'm beginning to see Awoyaya, where they have 6 hectares, as another OAS memorial. Because OAS memorial, the land on which OAS memorial is standing today, was given by a member of this Ologowo church. So how can we despise the work of Ologowo? They have tried their best. An old man of 80 will not be able to walk properly. You, a young man of 20, you will be able to walk properly, but you will be a fool if you despise that old man. Because the old man has lived his life. He has contributed his own. Take the gauntlet, contribute your own, improve on what your father has done. If you stand there and you start criticizing your father, look at the way he's walking, and then you don't fix what God has put in your hand, then it means you are failing in your duty. In stepping to the work of others, we must not allow ourselves to lapse into the temptation to believe that we are more superior than our forebearers. Not only that, we believe too also what our contemporaries are doing. We must not do that. It is fruitless to be negatively judgmental or clothe ourselves in the garb of invisibility. Many of us, we just criticize Saul, but many of us, we are Saul incarnate. Once we are in a position, we now think that we are more important. Some lay even believe that they are more important than bishops, than their bishops. Some bishops believe that they are more important than everybody. But everybody has his own role to play. Nobody is invisible. Nobody has a gap answer to all. Everybody has his own shortcomings. Everybody has his own good points. What we should look at in this church is how to use the good points of everybody. If I have the ability to be a secretary, for instance, me, and take whatever you tell me 2 years, I can recant it in the next 2 years and write it down. Use that. I may not know how to do other things. I may not be too friendly. I may not be a politician like my brother. But I may be a good secretary that I can write down what you say and return it to you. I may be able to write constitution, gathering what other people have said and gather it together and make it logical. Use me in that area. Don't say, oh, this man, he doesn't really laugh as much as we want him to laugh. What has that got to do? Use me for what I am good in. And God will reward you for recognizing that. We must be careful in our service to God. It is permissible, indeed, to face our commission squarely and use modern methods in accordance with the need of the time to improve upon our situation and achieve our objectives. For example, my grandfather or our grandfather, we have farms which they will use hoes and cutlasses to till, to plant, and they will use seedlings that are not chemically tested. But in this generation, we are permitted to use modern equipment, caterpillars equipment, to tend our farm, to use modern seedlings that are chemically produced to improve on our yield. So nothing should stop us from modernizing so that the harvest can be more. Imagine that I suddenly appear this morning in my grandfather's rooms. How will you look at me? But if I come in the type of my grandfather's robes to suit my height and everything, and then you say this is fine on Bonojo, and I say, this is my grandfather's style. Yes, my grandfather's farm will remain, the topography will remain, the geography will remain. But I will not use the method he's using to plant my own cocoa on my grandfather's farm. I will use modern methods, improve seedlings. This is what we are called upon to do in this church. We must not shy away from improving our mode of service, the way we run and project our churches and ourselves, our order of service, even this synod that we are doing. We must find a way of improving. One of my friends said, we come to synod every day, the same agenda, the same discussion. There is nothing stopping us from improving the way we run our synod. We don't need to cancel our synod. We can still call it synod, but we must do synods that are in accordance with the 21st century demand. All the strata of our organizational charts, we must look at it. How do we elect bishops? How do we elect lay presidents? What are the duties of the lay presidents? What are the duties of the presbyters? How do we run our church? Church council, church this, church that. We are allowed to organize them in accordance and respond to the needs of our time, instead of burying our feet in the past. Bury our head in the past instead of looking forward. We must move forward. We must recognize that as we do that, as my brother has said in my paragraph 41, I've said we must exhibit the fruits of the Spirit as we move. As we do all this, we must exhibit the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperament. All these Christ-like attributes must be in us as we move forward. We must recognize that it is by no means a bed of roses. Challenges will come our way, but we are assured of resounding success once we acting. I have to look at it in the dictionary. It says, listen and obey Christ's commandment and ensure that our various acts of service and sacrifices is predicated on Christ's injunction. Jesus told the disciples that we are the disciples, modern day disciples. He said, I send you forth as a sheep in the midst of wolves. He said, be wise as a serpent and be harmless as doves. We will talk about that later. In Mark chapter 16, 17 and 18, he told them what they will do, what Christians will do. The work that he has done, casting out devils, speaking new tongues, take up serpents, in other words, take up challenges and be victorious, and we shall not be odds because he is with us. He said, I am always with you in Matthew 28:30 till the end of the world. Christ has sent us forth knowing fully well that we will face challenges in building infrastructure in this church, in improving our finances, in winning more souls and ensuring numerical growth, and above all in developing spiritually. But he has assured us that we shall overcome once we listen. Before you can obey, you must hear. You must listen. I'm stressing this listening advisedly. Then obey. That's the second stage. Listen, hear, then obey, and then root our efforts and sacrifices on the injunctions laid down by Christ for us to follow. We must remember that we must first listen and hear the word before we obey. It is when we listen that we can obey. It is through this way that all our sacrifices will be acceptable, and we can guarantee a long-lasting growth spiritually, infrastructurally, numerically, and financially. When Samuel was called, he heard the voice. He listened first. He heard that voice before he went to Eli to go and say, I heard somebody call me. If that day Samuel did not listen, if he did not hear that call, would they have gone to Eli? Most of the problems we have is that at times people don't even listen. If you don't listen and you have not heard, how do you obey what you have not heard? If the minister is preaching and you have not listened, how do you learn from what the minister has preached? So we have to be attentive. Once we are attentive, then the second stage is for us to obey. That is when we can grow all the four cardinal growth pattern that our church has laid down. That is how we can achieve that. The apostles of old listened and they obeyed Christ, because they listened to Christ before they then obeyed. We can see the consequences of their sacrifices here on the Christendom. The people, Peter, John, James, all of them, if they didn't listen, if they didn't obey, all the early apostles, if they didn't obey, would there be a Christendom today? They listened and they obeyed. We have seen the life of our early missionaries. Freeman, we talk about it. St. Cast, he left with those people to graft all of them. Then they had all our people, aborigines, or the people coming from Freetown. They came, they worked hard. I call them our brave and industrious and illustrious forebearers. They listened to the call, they obeyed. And we are beneficiaries of their work today. We ought not to despise them. We ought to refocus, examine ourselves critically, determine how far we have gone with the legacy entrusted to us, listen to the clarion call, rededicate ourselves and commit ourselves in total obedience to Christ's injunction. I recommend that we have a very good and critical look at the Archdiocese of Lagos document on sustainable development, which we put together in 2017. Fortunately, the Archbishop was in the Archdiocese of Lagos then as bishop in West Nigeria. The two bishops who are here are also members of that committee, which I co-chaired, and which very Reverend Richards, the current chaplain in Westfield, was secretary. We have this booklet that we have prepared. I beg of you, in the name of God Almighty, look at it. Critically look at it. Pick the ones that you think will suit your diocese, and let us look at it over and over again. That is when I will believe that we are talking and we are making progress. The document which I've shown you made very useful recommendations on how to strengthen our resolve to move forward along the lines of our four cardinal pillars: growing the church spiritually, growing the church financially, growing the church numerically, growing the church infrastructurally. Don't let this book stay on the shelf, because one of the academic writers says that if you want to hide anything from a black man, an African, just put it in a book. We will not read it. Put anything you put in a book, we will go and shelve it. I think it's a negative commentary about us. Let us, in this generation, change that negative commentary about us. Development and growth of churches are achieved by God's grace and blessings upon a systematic, careful, deliberate, and painstaking effort by the leadership of the church in the mood of prayer and under an atmosphere of peace and unity. Growth, I repeat, will not happen by chance or by wishful thinking. All those churches we have seen that are abroad, it has been the labor of some people. Our theme of conference did not say just obey, blessing will come. He said it's just better than sacrifice. In other words, continue to sacrifice. There must be adequate planning. James said, faith without work is what? Is dead. There must be work to back our faith. When you obey God, when you do His injunction, plan, move without wavering from the doctrine, without wavering from Christian standards. And I'm sure that blessings will attain such planning. It is time to double our efforts, work on sustainable and deliberate plan of action to improve our visibility and portions. That is our church. There is a committee called Finance and Strategic Committee that is enshrined in the Constitution at all levels from circuit to conference. We are not using that committee enough. Let all the circuits use their Finance and Strategic Planning Committee the way it ought to be used. Let us move forward, let us plan, let us think, let us take active action, affirmative action to support our faith and our obedience. We have enormous challenges. One of the most important challenges is how to inspire our youth. They must remain in the church to inherit our labors. If our children do not inherit our labors, why are we laboring? Why are we doing all these sacrifices if our children are not coming to Methodist Church? It's an area we have to look at. We must create a 21st century church which will stand the test of time and remain focused at the same time to the Great Commission. We must not join the fold of those who have deviated and using Christianity as a cover. We must still remain in the fold, but yet we must plan to ensure that we achieve our goals, our visions, and objectives. I am confident that we can grow numerically, regenerate our spiritual life, we can grow financially, we can improve infrastructurally, we can release the great potential of our young people, make optimal use of our service to humanity, upgrade existing ones and build more schools and hospitals, provide the enabling environment for our members to prosper. We can plant more churches, we can win souls and give succor to the poor. I'm now in paragraph 54, I will soon finish. I hear the sound of Jesus calling us today in the Diocese of Lagos. Jesus used our leader and directed him to the profound theme of conference this year. It is now left for us to listen, hearken to this call, ensure that we double our efforts, ensure our sacrifices are deeply rooted in obedience to God's injunction. It appears to me that the song composed by Sir Francis Alexander is very relevant to our position in the Diocese of Lagos now. Jesus calls us over the tumult of our life while restless sea. Day by day, his sweet voice sounded, saying, Christian, follow me. He ended that song by talking about hearing and obeying. Jesus calls us by thy mercies. Savior, make us hear thy call. Give our hearts to thy obedience. Serve and love the best of all. In verses 2, 3, 4, he was talking about the challenges that we will face. Vain golden store, all the problems, idolatry, that if you have heard that some people are making more money than us, Some people are progressing more than us. He says, just obey. Listen to me. Listen. Obey. You will reach your own destination. I pray that the good Lord will enable the Diocese of Lagos to fulfill its prophetic destiny. Amen. The Diocese of Lagos shall be reinvigorated. Amen. And continue to be the first among equals. Amen. It shall retain its position as a pathfinder diocese and a beacon of hope for the future of our church. Amen. May I thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And wish you a resounding, successful celebration in the 57th Synod.
Please let us rise and thank you,